How can we fill our sketchbooks with our busy lives, dense academic schedules, and full-time jobs? In part 1 of this video, we talked about time management and inspiration. In this part, we are going to dive deeper into mindset shifts we need to incorporate. How can we silence our inner perfectionist? Are there rules to create an acceptable sketchbook? Blocks, fears, doubts, all those things can create resistance between us and our artistic exploration. And that's what this is about. Using a sketchbook gives us a safe space for artistic exploration. Hi, my name is Veronica, aka Vespertilio. I am an Italian comic book author, tarot and oracle deck creator, and your spooky art teacher.
It's me again, yours truly.
As anticipated in part 1, this video is going to be divided into 3 chapters and will mostly draw from my experience in learning how to draw directly pen on paper. Chapter 1 is about embracing versus correcting mistakes, the power of imperfection. Chapter 2 is called If You Say It's Done, It's Done, rough sketches versus finished art pieces, what belongs in a sketchbook. And part 3 will contain a list of prompts for you to take inspiration for your sketchbook pages. Part 1 also had a final chapter with a list of prompt lists for you to tap into, so make sure you check that out. You'll find the complete timeline with each chapter in the description below. And with that said, let's get to the video. Before we start, I think it's worth spending a couple of words on comfort. Feeling good in our body definitely contributes to a good sketching session and drawing experience. Since I got my standing desk, I definitely improved the quality of my desk time by being able to switch from constant sitting to standing up to stretch my legs and back. But I admit that my small kitchen chair kept messing with my scoliosis. A correct posture is fundamental for a feel-good desk experience. Luckily, Flexispot reached out to me once again to make me try their C7 ergonomic chair. And oh my god! First off, of course, most chairs are built to hold your weight. This chair is designed to embrace your body. The backrest piece locks at 93 degrees, providing a stable upright posture for work. The adjustable headrest can be tilted to your ideal angle for a well-supported work block, and you can readjust it in relaxed mode whenever you require some extra comfort. The 3D armrests are fully adjustable to your needs, making you free to find your perfect arm position whether you're working or just relaxing on a break. The adaptive lumbar support conforms to your specific spine when seated without the need for any extra cushion. And speaking of, this seat cushion is bigger and wider than regular chairs, providing even more room and better support for your body during extended sitting. And for us artists, there's more. The seat tilts forward to reduce leg pressure and promote better blood circulation during long hours of sitting, which is particularly ideal for when I'm focused working on my art projects. Black Friday sale is coming out and you can grab the best discount on Flexispot. They just launched a new C7 Max model having more advanced features, so go use my code 24BFC7 to receive $50 off your C7 ergonomic chair. And if by any chance you're not really sure if this might actually work for you, no worries, because Flexispot provides a 30-day trial. So head out to flexispot.com at the link in my description to upgrade your office or art studio. So during 2024, I really started to play with imperfection for the first time in my life. And learning to play with imperfection has been incredibly beneficial on several aspects of my life, including my art. Unfortunately, in our perfection-seeking society, it is really hard to keep that friendship between us and imperfection alive. In fact, that is something we have to train with everyday practice. I know this might sound contradictory because they say practice makes perfect, but in this case, we must think that practice makes imperfect. And that is so true. Embracing imperfection is an everyday practice that one must keep alive, especially creative people. But why is that so? This year I learned to draw directly pen on paper, and I've made several elaborated illustrations without ever needing to erase. So what happened? Did I learn to draw perfectly on a first try? No. Quite the contrary. I learned to embrace mistakes and imperfections. When we look so desperately for perfection, we become obsessed. We erase and start over and over. And sometimes we become so unsatisfied with something that we don't even finish that art piece. But making art by embracing imperfection requires us to follow different rules. 1. There are more opportunities than mistakes. Every wrong line, long stroke, wrong angle can be turned into a chance to experiment. Here I didn't like how I had originally made the legs, and so when I had to come up with something to cover them up, I decided to add this spider web behind her, which is something I haven't thought about beforehand, but it actually made the piece look even better. Mistakes can be turned into anything: flowing hair, trees, another character. Every mistake can be transmuted into a new possibility. Number 2, there's no good reason to not finish what we start. It's always worth it to bring art to life. Too many times, I forced myself to post on my social a drawing that I wasn't satisfied with at all, and every single time my followers, my community always ended up loving it. You know when artists joke about getting back to a drawing they were really proud of after some time and suddenly seeing it as really ugly? Well, with drawings we're not actually proud of, what happens is actually the opposite sometimes. We might literally hate an art piece we've made, and after some time we get back at it, we look at it and we go, this wasn't so bad. Maybe I was too harsh on myself. Remember, we are our worst, most severe critic. But inside of us, there's actually the spark of our number one fan. Whatever happens, it is always worth finishing an art piece. It's part of the exploration. Of course, there are times when it's perfectly reasonable to not finish an art piece, but that is a different aspect of using a sketchbook, and we'll cover it in chapter 2. If you follow these 2 rules, after some time, some interesting things will start happening. First off, you'll notice you're actually filling your sketchbook because you'll feel more relaxed and you'll enjoy your artistic exploration as much as you enjoyed playing as a child. You'll let yourself catch inspiration from all around you, getting used to take anything as an opportunity to experiment with art. And of course, with all of these, your artistic skills will improve significantly. And these are all great things, but here's the catch. We are still individuals born and raised in a world seeking for perfection. The moment we start noticing our art improving and us becoming better artists, we'll get back at seeking perfection without even noticing. Julia Cameron, in her wonderful book The Artist's Way, calls these creative U-turns. And that's what's been happening with me lately. There's nothing wrong with using patches, unless we're doing it for the wrong reason. I kept telling myself that this was all normal and that I should not be hard on myself, but the truth is I was being hard on myself while I was drawing. I've come back to seeking perfection and once again forgot to play with my art. And that not only put a stop to my artistic journey, most importantly, downgraded my enjoyment of the experience. To the point I slowly stopped drawing on my sketchbooks. And on that note, I'm sorry people subscribe to my newsletter waiting for my digital sketchbook update. It's worth mentioning that this happened during an extremely stressful period of time. In the past months, I had to meet several deadlines for my comics and for the illustrated book, and in August, a person very dear to me was rushed to the hospital due to a severe health problem that thankfully got resolved. That was something. And in these stressful times, we tend to seek proof of our worth because we start feeling weak and unworthy. For me, my pride and joy is my art. So I started to obsess with how it looked to demonstrate I still had control over something. But in reality, I gave up my art to perfection and I lost control. That's how important it is to keep cultivating a loving relationship with imperfection. Because I got proof that imperfection is the key to a fulfilling creative experience. Imperfection keeps us in control, silences our inner critic, and gives space to our number one fan. So if you'd like to give this all a try, turn every mistake into an opportunity and finish every piece no matter what. If you also want to give pen on paper a try, my advice is just start. It's going to be incredibly scary at first. When I did this, I was terrified. But if you really give it a try, I promise it's so liberating. Chapter 2. If you say it's done, it's done. So many times I've been heavily criticized by people stating that mine was not a real sketchbook and that I was setting unrealistic expectations, unrealistic standards, only seeking attention for the simple reason that my sketchbooks are filled with finished pieces. So what belongs in a sketchbook? I've said it before and I'll say it again. Your sketchbook is your safe space to experiment with your art. And you can do whatever you want with your sketchbook. You want to use it to practice and study, plan your comics, and fill it with unfinished sketches and studies, do it. You want it to look like an art gallery in a book and fill it with beautiful finished art pieces, do it. You want to have a little bit of both, please? Do it. Do not let anybody tell you what you have to do with your sketchbook. Do not let anybody tell you that you're using your sketchbook wrong. Because listen, the only way of using a sketchbook the wrong way is not using it at all, okay? Now, I know in the previous chapter I spoke up for finished pieces, saying that there's no good reason to not finish an art piece. Of course, studies and sketches made for practice constitute a valid exception. Every sketch, gesture drawing, thumbnail work, those things are all more than welcome in our sketchbooks, and of course they will look unfinished. But if you start a page with the intent of doing a finished drawing, then it's worth finishing it. No matter what. It's all in the intent. Of course, if for example you start with a gesture drawing and then you decide to turn it into a little illustration, that's a positive change of intent. It's opening, it's welcoming. When we start a piece and then kill it without finishing it because it's not coming together well enough, that's a negative change of intent, and we should fight that. Be honest with your intent. And if you decide to change your mind, always do it for openness and expansion, and not for oppression and avoidance. You'll see that by putting a little attention to this, you find yourself working more happily on your sketchbooks. Last but not least, let's finally get to chapter 3, prompts for your sketchbooks. In chapter 2 of part 1 of this video, I've talked about the resourcefulness of having a list of themes and prompts to explore when in lack of inspiration. In the spirit of that chapter, here are 4 more prompt lists for you to tap in. Number 1, the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and spirit. You can interpret them however you want, and you can actually combine them with something else. Think, for example, of Eevee or Ivy, I don't know how it's called in English, from Pokemon. All its evolutions are basically the same creature combined with a different element. You might want to do something like that. Number 2, your favorite things. In one of my recent videos, I showed you some of my favorite things. Well, many times when I don't know what to draw, I'd simply copy my favorite things like still life. Make a list of 5 up to 10 of your favorite things and use that list to get inspired. In my case, that could be my antique coin purses, pumpkin cups, thrifted rings, or my crystals. You might also want to include things you don't actually have but that are in your wish list. And actually, drawing things that you want is a great manifestation technique. On that same spirit, you might want to get inspired by places you want to visit. In my case, I definitely want to go back to London, so I might look for London's parks, London's historical monuments, and then I'll add Brands Castle in Transylvania, Paris, Tokyo, and of course, my beloved Salem. Last but certainly not least, this is a little niche, okay? But if you like my style, if you like my art, you might enjoy this one. Tombstones. You have no idea how many types of tombstones you can find out there. Some of them are incredibly beautiful and detailed. Beautiful sculptures, full statues, plants growing on them. Oh, I love to sketch graveyards. And I also love to come up with tombstone designs myself. So you can go on Pinterest, search for graveyards, cemeteries, tombstones pictures, have them all collected in a board, get inspired, and design your own spooky graveyard. And that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this was as helpful as fun to watch. I know some of the things I said might be kind of hard to digest, and I can assure you that it is a constant practice. Embracing imperfection is something that one must cultivate, like a really good friendship. That is something I'm relearning myself. We're all in this together. But anyways, I really hope this will help you enjoy filling your sketchbooks. As usual, if you have any suggestions or requests for future videos, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. If you'd like to help this channel grow, you can simply do it by hitting the subscribe button and liking this video. Don't forget to check out FlexiSpot at the link in my description to get $50 off your C7 ergonomic chair. If you'd like to support my art and content, my very first tarot deck, Vesper Tarot, is now available for purchase, and you can get it at the link in my description. Also, quick flex, at the beginning of this month, I went to Lucca Comics and Games, which is the biggest comic convention here in Italy, and for the first time in my career, I had a sold out. Vesper Tarot went sold out at Lucca Comics and Games, so I'm so proud of this baby. And if you'd like to see more of my work, consider joining my newsletter where I share my digitalized sketchbook anytime there's an update. I promise there's going to be an update. Thank you for your patience. If you stayed to this point, thank you very much. I will see you very soon with more art videos. In the meantime, let's make art. Bye.